Hey guys, welcome to whatever this is. I am Delaney, and tonight I do know what I want to talk about. I think before I get into that though, I want to apologize. I haven't made a video in a couple days, and it was something that I've been trying to be more consistent with. Unfortunately, there was just some personal things that came up in my life, and I had to take care of them, and so making videos just wasn't something that was going to be possible. I'm back though, and I promise I wasn't trying to be anything other than myself while being away. I want to talk tonight about a new experience I had last night, and it was dragon boat racing. Thank you, Shea, for inviting me. It was such a wonderful experience. I had such a good time. It was a new experience, and when I go into something like that, I try to go into it with an open mindset, and quite honestly, I expected it to be a lot of work, and it was, but it wasn't as much work as I thought it could be. And so tonight I just kind of want to go through what I learned in dragon boat racing yesterday, a few of the terms that I learned, and maybe a couple of things that I learned about myself along the way as well. First of all, they put me in the middle of the boat, which is called the engine room or the powerhouse, I think. I'm not really sure on which one it was, because neither one of those are terms that are generally associated with myself. And the only other two positions that were readily available are not the steering person, the back person or the propellers. And judging by what the person who was talking was saying, that's a lot of work, and I'm not going to do that. That's not me. It's just not me. Anyway, and the people right at the front of the boat, they're called the pacers, and I know me, that's a bad idea. And actually having me in charge of having the whole team put pedals in all at the same time, that's just dumb. I have no sense of rhythm, and my timing is just, it's atrocious. So I'm kind of stuck in the middle of the boat. One thing I did learn though is you don't actually have to work as hard as everybody else says if you don't want to. You can kind of take little cheat breaks. And I found this out by putting your pedal in, and it just automatically goes to the back. So you don't actually, as long as you put your pedal in on time, you don't really have to do a lot of work, and nobody really knows. I was actually looking over at the guy beside me going, dude, you're working really, really hard. And I contemplated telling him my secret, and then I thought, no, you know what, you're doing a really good job, and I want to get back to the dock eventually, so keep going, thank you. And I never said a thing. The other thing that I realized is that my technique isn't great. When you pick the paddle up and you go to put it back, like you have to bring it forward to put it back in by your toe, and to do that you have to bring it all the way out of the water, because if you don't, then the tip of it hits the water and it sprays the person in front of you. And by the end of the trip, the person in front of me was just absolutely soaking wet. And I know it was from the paddle because I tried to spit on him one time, and it's a whole different effect. And I didn't tell him because you know what, he was already wet. He's never gonna know. And so just please be quiet. Don't go spreading this all over the world, okay? It wouldn't look good. But so there's that. You don't actually have to work really hard if you don't want to. I was asking about it on the way to the event, and the person that I was riding with, first of all, corrected me because I called them oars, and they're actually paddles. I had no idea. I thought I was going to sit on this little seat thing that you slid back and forth. There's some kind of other boat that does that, but I don't know what it is. And honestly, I kind of prefer that, because the way they tell me to paddle was to use my hips, and that's where the power comes from, right at the core. And I get that, but have you ever tried to swivel your ass on a fixed bench? No wonder they get dragon bites. That's what happened. That's what they call the blisters on their ass. Can you imagine trying so hard that you give your ass blisters? I honestly thought that was the only place that I couldn't get a blister, until last night when I was told that that was the thing. There is a dragon something seat that you can sit on, and it looks like a little gel pad, I think. which would probably offer a little bit of relief. But honestly, just give me a swivel seat. I think it would be better. Um, oh, and another really important thing about dragon boat racing is it's a team sport. So being a team sport, you really have to pay attention to what your teammates are doing. And in dragon boat racing, that becomes apparently clear when um, it comes to timing. Um, and I apparently have no concentration or attention span because I was off in my own little world about 30% of the time, watching geese swim by me, or a duck, or the cormorants in trees and rocks, or it could have been just the piece of bark that was floating by, or some pretty leaves that I had to look at. But I found that my attention span kind of maybe needs a little bit of work. That being said, I have concentrated for 6 whole minutes on talking, which brings me to the other two positions on the boat, which is the very back person who is the steering person. And to me, that seems like a lot of responsibility. You have to steer the boat into the dock and out, which is an automatic fail for me in the safety aspect of things. I would capsize it at one of those 2 points for sure, and probably out in the middle of the boat in the lake. I would get lost and nobody would know where we were because that was my responsibility. Um, the person that I really wanted to be, though, and I'm not gonna lie, they were up in the boat in the front, and usually they say they have a drum, but this person just had a headset and talked a lot. And honestly, when I was sitting there listening to her, I was like, bitch, I want your position. I can talk. And like, I don't need rhythm to talk, right? And if I do, I'll fake it till I make it, just like I do when I'm paddling in the powerhouse. Anyway, you guys, I had an amazing time with Dragon Boat Racing, and I would recommend it if you ever get invited, like I was, to go try it. Please go try it. It's amazing, and if you're open-minded enough, it will be. Be you. Be ruthless with it. Be selfish with it. There's nothing more important in this whole world than being yourself in every given moment that you find yourself in.